It is not it's not the minister who takes the portfolio. Portfolios are the prerogative of the chief minister. I'm sure the deputy chief minister Pawan Kalyan knows this pretty well. But still, he said he sent across a message that he is autonomous. If TDP reacts widely to Pawan Kalyan's statement, what will happen? People will definitely think that when Pawan Kalyan raises the failures of Chandrababu Naidu government, TDP is intolerant. So it will send a message that that the bigger party, the senior partner, is showing politics of arrogance. There's a competitive politics between TDP and Janasena. The problem is, in any alliance, what really happens is all the alliance partners want to grow. So Janasena wants to grow. How can it grow? Can it grow without encroaching the TDP support base? So it has to grow at the expense of TDP because YCP has only 11 legislatures. So obviously, Janasena's growth at one point of time will be detrimental to the TDP.
Hello and welcome to The Wire. 5 months after the NDA formed the government in Andhra Pradesh, cracks seem to be appearing in the alliance. Janasena Party President and Deputy Chief Minister K. Pawan Kalyan, who's credited with bringing TDP and BJP together in the state successfully, has publicly criticized TDP leader and Home Minister V. Anita 2 days ago. He accused her of not doing her job properly and demanded she be more accountable, warning her that if things don't improve, he would be forced to take over the home portfolio as well. He claimed that things would be different if he were in charge. He even advised her to take inspiration from Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Surprisingly, the minister reacted positively, stating that she takes the criticism constructively and that people shouldn't read too much into it. Now, while disagreements are common among alliance partners, they gain significance when aired publicly. To help us better understand all of this, we are joined by senior journalist and political analyst Professor K. Nageshwar. Professor, let me begin by asking you, do you think Pawan Kalyan, who's widely regarded as a maverick, made his recent comments casually or as a calculated political move?
First of all, I don't think that the Pawan Kalyan can be dismissed as maverick. For that matter, all politicians may be maverick at times. So the point here is Pawan Kalyan has been pursuing a calculated strategy. It was his thesis that the YCP votes anti-YCP votes should not be divided. So he that kind of a thesis actually catapulted the NDA to power in Andhra Pradesh. So he was right from the beginning insisting on avoiding the fragmentation of the anti-incumbency vote. That has really worked out to the advantage of the TDP. So therefore, in fact, I was always describing Pawan Kalyan as the man of the match. If Chandrababu Naidu is the man of the series, man of the match certainly is the Pawan Kalyan. So Pawan Kalyan was credited with bringing BJP and TDP put together also. Therefore, he is one of the chief architects of the NDA alliance in Andhra Pradesh and primarily responsible for NDA coming to power. Of course, under the Chandrababu Naidu leadership. I'm not denying or denigrating the role of Chandrababu Naidu in ensuring NDA coming to power, but that doesn't mean Pawan Kalyan's role can be undermined. So now, why did he speak so openly on the Home Minister? So if you can analyze the statement, he said, if you are not performing properly your duty, you are not doing. If you do not do it, I will take over the Home Ministry, and if I take over, the things will not be the same. So it is not the minister who takes the portfolio. Portfolios are the prerogative of the chief minister. I'm sure the deputy chief minister Pawan Kalyan knows this pretty well. But still, he said he is autonomous. He sent across a message that he is autonomous, and that too he was castigating a minister in Chandrababu Naidu's government. Parliamentary democracy principles tell us that there is a collective responsibility. If a failure of a particular minister cannot be seen in isolation, and it is the chief minister who is supposed to lead the government, is the first among the equals. So if the home minister fails, it's also a direct commentary on the chief minister also. And Pawan Kalyan has in fact said people are castigating us, people are scolding us. This was a public statement of the deputy chief minister. Therefore, the reason for that is, and it was not under emotion. In fact, if we look at his speech delivered in his home constituency of Pittapuram very closely, it was nothing to do with the politics actually. It was a progress report as a legislator to the electorate of his own assembly segment. Amidst all that, he suddenly referred to this and very vociferously condemned the functioning of the Home Ministry. So, therefore, I think it was a conscious attempt to demarcate from the failures of Naidu government. So, Pawan Kalyan and the Janasena will anyhow get the credit because if the government of Andhra Pradesh under the leadership of Chandrababu Naidu does anything good to the people. So, but they are not ready to share the damage that may be possible if the government's actions or inactions, government's commission or omissions incur the wrath of the people. So therefore, Janasena was trying to demarcate, and this is not the first time. In fact, he has demarcated with Chiranjeevi also. When Chiranjeevi, his elder brother and a popular film actor Chiranjeevi merged his Prajarajyam party, a political startup, with the Congress party. Pawan Kalyan disowned it. He did not condemn it, but at the same time, he did not endorse it. So Pawan Kalyan knows when to demarcate and how to demarcate. I think it is a clever attempt to demarcate from the alleged failures of the government of led by Chandrababu Naidu. Because he himself said people are scolding us, people are castigating us. This was the public utterance of a deputy chief minister. So therefore, it is a political strategy to clearly de-link from the failures of the government. Anyhow, the success of the government will automatically, the share in the success goes to Pawan Kalyan too.
Okay. Uh, I wanted to ask you, what is the message behind the public outburst? But you seem to have answered that question, so I'll move on to the next question. Uh, it's interesting to see the TDP's response, though, because they are the senior partner. And usually the junior partner does not get to dictate terms, but in this case, it seems to be the other way around. In fact, there's a lot of chatter in Delhi also, post the Laddu incident, that there seem to be two chief ministers in Andhra Pradesh. So, what do you make of TDP's response? Why do you think a senior alliance partner like the TDP responded so positively to such public criticism?
Well, TDP, of course, the arithmetic is very clear. TDP will remain in power even without the support of Janasena also. TDP got 100, still has 135 MLAs far above the majority mark. So therefore, this kind of a question automatically comes. But I think describing it as the presence of two chief ministers is a figment of imagination. So the Telugudesam, in fact, Chandrababu Naidu speaking at Ichapuram meeting himself said that we have to follow the Mitra Dharma. So the ethics, the rules of the elder brother or the friend's duty. So that is what he described it as the Mitra Dharma, and he said it is the TDP which has to protect our alliance partners also. So not that the Telugudesam party is unaware of the fact that the arithmetic is heavily in favor of Telugudesam party, but they are worried about the possible negative narrative if they antagonize the TDP, Janasena at this point in time. Because more recently, Chandrababu Naidu said in his popular OTT show with Nandamuri Balakrishna called Unstoppable, that the Pawan Kalyan's decision to join hands with the TDP was a game changer. And in fact, Chandrababu Naidu said in the same interview that it was he who proposed this. So therefore, given the political narrative around Pawan Kalyan's role in the catapulting the NDA to power in Andhra Pradesh, and given the proximity between Janasena and the BJP, which leads the central government, well, TDP is obviously cautious. It is not a question of numbers alone. It is a question of the political narrative. In case if TDP reacts widely to Pawan Kalyan's statement, what will happen? People will definitely think that when Pawan Kalyan raises the failures of Chandrababu Naidu government, TDP is intolerant. So it will send a message that that the bigger party, the senior partner, is showing politics of arrogance. So Chandrababu Naidu is certainly conscious of a possible fallout due to this kind of a political narrative. It's not just the numbers; narrative also matters.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, my next question is, on the one hand, you have TDP leaders and cadres who believe, like you mentioned, that Mr. Naidu is giving Pawan Kalyan more than what he deserves, given that they don't rely on the Janasena party for supports to stay in power. Now, on the other hand, you have Janasena, which is a new party, which attracts a lot of young people, new so-called political, newbies who are exploring some of these landscapes. Now, these people are very, very ambitious, where they might not have found opportunities in other parties, for instance. So they might have joined the Janasena. Now they are eager to share whatever political benefits that accrue from the victory. In fact, some sources have told me that they are looking for an equitable share, despite their numbers, as you mentioned. So, do you think that this sort of ground level fault lines, these tensions are somehow surfacing now to the top? Can we understand this public outburst of Pawan Kalyan in this context to interpret it better?
No, I don't think we can immediately come to a conclusion that the ground level fault lines have come to the highest level. But certainly, Pawan Kalyan is concerned about the things that are happening around. In fact, in the recent cabinet meeting, Pawan Kalyan himself said that even SPs are also not responding to him. The problem is, in any government, unfortunately in the Telugu politics especially, the local MLA decides who should be the circle inspector the station house officer in a police station, who should be the mandal revenue officer, who should be the sub registrar in the registration office, who should be the mandal development officer. These key portfolios at the grassroots level in the administration is necessarily defined and determined by the interest of the local legislator when the legislator belongs to the ruling party. So obviously what is happening is the Janasena cadre are restless because at the grassroots level, wherever TDP as legislators, they are not taking Janasena into confidence, because the problem is TDP is the old party and they have leadership which is deeply entrenched in the constituency public life. On the contrary, Janasena are reasonably younger and new faces. So there is incompatibility between the grassroots TDP leadership and Janasena leadership. Obviously, the bureaucracy respects and regards the TDP leadership more, essentially because of their seniority and experience in the political and public life. So this is to the discomfiture of the Janasena. And interestingly, wherever even Janasena has legislators also, there are several instances where TDP local leaders, despite not being the legislators, are dominating the public life and bureaucracy, having a say over the bureaucracy. So this is the first reason for the incompatibility or incongruency growing between the TDP and Janasena at the local level. I'm not telling that this is a state level phenomenon. This has certainly come up in several places. There's a competitive politics between TDP and Janasena. The problem is, in any alliance, what really happens is all the alliance partners want to grow. So Janasena wants to grow. How can it grow? Can it grow without encroaching the TDP support base? So it has to grow at the expense of TDP, because BJP has only 11 legislatures. So obviously, Janasena's growth at one point of time will be detrimental to the TDP, and TDP's growth will be detrimental to the Janasena. This is inevitable political mathematics that really happen. So that is the reason for the kind of concern which Pawan Kalyan was displaying. So it's not just the grassroots disenchantment coming up the highest level, and there is also a second thing. So there are significant fiscal challenges too, because Chandrababu Naidu led NDA promised revised and enlarged welfare schemes compared to Jagan Mohan Reddy government. So the estimates suggest that they require more than 1 lakh crores, so which is simply not possible. So out of the Super 6, only 2 of the 6 promises are implemented so far. So therefore, there is a possibility of a growing discontent over a period of time. Perhaps Janasena and Pawan Kalyan is conscious of that. So to avoid the discontent spilling over to Janasena also, Perhaps he may be trying to de-link and demarcate from the possible failures of the government while getting the credit for the possible successes of the government.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to play a game where heads I win, tails you lose sort of a game, right? Where he's trying, like you said, he's attempting to claim credit for the alliance government's successes while simultaneously criticizing the TDP for the alliance's shortcomings. So, in a sense, you're telling me that Kalyan is trying to have his cake and eat it too?
Well, that is politics. Obviously, the junior partner will have that kind of a luxury. In any alliance, the senior partner has certain advantages, junior partner has certain advantages. So it is obviously the Chandrababu Naidu-led government. You cannot find fault with Pawan Kalyan for every damn thing the government does. So obviously, every party wants to try to protect itself, and this is a part of any alliance politics. So nothing surprise in it.
Right, right. Uh, yeah. And I also wanted to ask you a little bit about this growing image of Pawan Kalyan as the Hindutva icon of the South. In fact, he very craftily I think, spoke about Yogi Adityanath, and he even advised the Home Minister, V. Anita, to take inspiration from Yogi Adityanath's approach to law and order. So, why do you think he made that statement? I mean, what sort of a meaning is he attaching to that statement? He could have taken
Uh,
any
I,
name, but
I,
very interestingly.
Well, it was referring to the tough stand of the Home Ministry. Perhaps he was talking about the strict enforcement of law and order. In that context, he might have taken the name of Yogi Adityanath. But more than that, it's not just quoting Adityanath. In fact, if we look at the Pawan Kalyan series of statements, starting with the Laddu controversy, his demand for Sanatana Dharma, his Narsimha Varahi's Dalam, a formation of Narsimha Varahi Dalam to protect and preserve Sanatana Dharma. In fact, after Trump made the statement of Hindus are under threat across the world, he was trying to counter Kamala Harris. Pawan Kalyan responded to this and said, Hindus are a global minority and they are under persecution. So all these statements tantamount to a clear shift in the stand of Pawan Kalyan. All of us know Pawan Kalyan was adoring Marxist revolutionaries like Che Guevara and Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
He was allying with the left in 2019. So this is actually a kind of remarkable transformation. I think it is not ideological. It is essentially a political strategy to harness the Hindutva political space that is hitherto vacant in the south, especially in Andhra Pradesh. If you look at the politics of South India, Karnataka, you have the BJP strong presence. Tamil Nadu, the BJP is trying to expand, but has come only up to double digit 11%. Kerala, it is expanding. Hindutva politics are expanding, but they are not converting it into votes. Telangana has an history of communal polarization benefiting the BJP. Unlike all this, Andhra Pradesh doesn't have a history of communal polarization. Andhra Pradesh, the linguistic had witnessed a series of social reform movement. So the socio-political terrain of Andhra Pradesh has been unpalatable to the Hindutva politics, and therefore Pawan Kalyan sees an opportunity here. As of today, is representing the anti-YCP sentiment. That was the reason he could win 21 out of the 21 seats with a 100% strike rate. That was the reason why he joined hands with the TDP. So, but beyond a point, he cannot harness the anti-YCP sentiment because the TDP will be the principal claimant for the anti-YCP sentiment. Therefore, Pawan Kalyan has to have some other socio-political space to expand Janasena. That socio-political space is in the form of Kapu consolidation behind Janasena and the Hindutva politics. This combination of social engineering with that of political engineering in the form of Hindutva politics. So perhaps this is a clever strategy to enhance the presence of Janasena in the crowded political space of Andhra Pradesh.
All right. So, how successful do you think he would be? I mean, how fertile is Andhra Pradesh, especially given that we've already seen such attempts happening in Tamil Nadu through Annamalai, for instance, or with Rajnikant's spiritual politics, but so far, nothing seems to have come out of it. How fertile do you think is Andhra society for such kind of politics?
Well, we cannot say nothing has come out of that. In fact, Annamalai-led BJP could increase the vote share from a little less than 3% to 11%. And so that's a significant rise in the vote share in Tamil Nadu, a state known for its Dravidian political ethos and a movement for social justice. So therefore, we have the anti-Hindi sentiment. In fact, the Tamil Nadu is a much more hostile political space for the BJP. Still, Annamalai, with his aggressive Hindutva stand, could lead the BJP to, I don't give credit only to Annamalai, but certainly his leadership helped. So therefore, it's not any society will have its deep social fault lines. So, but the history, the context, the ethos, the movements, there are a host of factors that make whether Hindutva politics will survive and succeed. Look at a state like West Bengal, known for the left politics for decades. Now it is the breeding ground for the saffron politics. So look at the state like Tripura, which has seen the formidable left presence. Now the BJP is in power. When Tripura and West Bengal can be fertile for the Hindutva politics, I don't think Andhra Pradesh can be an exception, provided there is a right kind of trigger in it. So I am not here to forecast what will happen, but we cannot rule it out any possibility because it all depends on several factors.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. So the YSRCP, of course, looking at this disagreement between the alliance partners, has gone to town by saying, that why don't you take over the Home Ministry and show us what you can do, and all of these sort of challenges that are being thrown in a very cavalier manner. But where do you think the YSRCP figures in all of this? Are they losing the plot, given the sibling rivalry between Jagan and Sharmila out in the open? How much of credibility do you think the YSRCP has left?
Well, obviously, YSR Congress will try to capitalize on the possible rift in the TDP Janasena. But my point is, it is too much to expect at this point of time. You cannot infer from the Pawan Kalyan's outburst that the NDA in Andhra Pradesh is in the brink of breaking up. So that is too much expectation. If the YCP arrives at such a conclusion, I think it is politically disastrous. Well, there are problems in any alliance. So, but the anti-YCP sentiment binds TDP Janasena more than anything else. So I think the YSR Congress cannot be so cannot act with such an alacrity to exploit from this kind of a situation. And obviously, the political will do it. Well, TDP Janasena are trying to exploit the family feud in the Rajshekar Reddy's family. So that is part of politics, and anybody will do it. But at this point in time, it is wrong to conclude that Pawan Kalyan is seriously aggrieved of Chandrababu Naidu, and as if Janasena is trying to give a divorce to TDP. That is foolish. That's not the right kind of a conclusion.
No, definitely. I mean, the other day we were talking about how there's been consistent attacks on those who've been critical of the government or any party for that matter. People like you who've been objectively critical, especially on social media. So you think it is going to lead to a trend where, you'll have outfits like these from various parties trying to monitor the narrative on social media? And we all know how violent some of these groups can be.
That's what is being done by every political party. They want to control the narrative, and they are hostile to any kind of criticism. I have no objection if the state acts on indecent posts, state acts on vulgar posts, character assassination, either by independent people or by the political adversary. But in the name of controlling this social media anarchy, they cannot stifle dissent. They cannot stifle criticism. You're right. Person like me has never crossed the limits. I have been speaking on television for over 20 years. I have an experience as a journalist for nearly 4 decades. I worked as an editor, I headed the TV channel, I'm a columnist. Even today I write for the national media, but the TDP ecosystem doesn't even spare me. So I'm nothing to do with the YSR Congress. In fact, I was equally critical of Jagan government policy. And if you look at the TDP social media groups, I've shared many of my videos also. Now that just because I don't toe the line on every damn thing they do, so obviously you indulge in character assassination, you attack the person, you try to portray him as a Paytm badge. All this nonsense is happening. This is the level of political intolerance of the parties that are in act in democracy. So, right to criticize is a fundamental right of the people as a part of the freedom of expression. You cannot create a chilling effect. So, the idea of these social media wings is to create a chilling effect so that the free voices, independent voices, do not survive. I think we'll have to all independent journalists have to rise to the occasion and oppose this kind of a action by the state or action by the political parties, and we're trying to control the narrative by attacking anybody and anyone and everyone who is critical of the government's action. Well, I believe that the media has a role to play this. We are supposed to play the critical adversarial function. So you cannot be punished, you cannot be bullied, you cannot be attacked for performing the critical adversarial function, which the Constitution was asked us to play this role.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for speaking with the Wire, Professor.
Thank you, Pawan. Thank you. Nice talking to you.